Welcome back. We're continuing our discussion of how U.S. foreign policy might impact the decisions of voters in November. I'm now joined by Mehram Abdelhamid, the National Field and Political Coordinator for the Arab American Institute, and Maria Blanco, Executive Director of the Chief Justice Earl Warren Institute on Race, Ethnicity and Diversity. I want to thank you both for joining us for this.
Thank you.
And Maria, if I could start with you and ask what Barack Obama represents to the Latino community, considering there's often been a friction, between the two communities, it seems.
Well, he really represents, I think, a couple of things. One, the fact that he comes from an immigrant family is, I think, a real point of unity for Latinos. They feel like somebody who has roots in another country could be president and is a candidate, and they identify with that. They really have not focused as much on the campaign on the fact that he's African American. That's there, but I think what's much more important to a lot of Latinos is the position that he takes on a lot of domestic issues.
Now, and I ask you this sort of personally, and we've got Mehram as well here. We've on this show, 3 women joining us on the 88th anniversary of women getting the right to vote here. Is the loss of Hillary candidate as a potential president a loss in terms of what it could have done for having a woman in the White House?
I don't think so. I think that she ran an amazing campaign, I mean, in the number of votes that she got. And so she was the first really excellent candidate. I think Obama ran a better campaign, but she was spectacular and she involved a lot of women. And I don't think that her not being the ultimate candidate, I think she's opened the door for a lot of women in the future.
Mehram, good to have you as well.
Thank
you. What's your view on that?
Well, I really believe that Barack Obama transcends sex as well as race. For me, I didn't feel that I had to choose between a woman candidate and a male candidate. He was, for me, the ultimate candidate. So I didn't feel that there was a problem there.
Now, a lot of people would say that the Bush administration was not very kind to the Arab world. It's increased the divisions, perhaps, between the Arab world and certainly America. How would the Arab American voters align themselves when it comes to this vote? Are they really all, largely behind Barack Obama here?
You know what? I've traveled all over the country, and the Democrats are. And they're excited about Barack Obama. They see that he's a fresh face and that he will be a great candidate for the Arab American community, especially when it comes to Middle East issues.
Now, Maria, the Hispanic community, the Latino community has been a lot more visible now in American politics. Especially in recent years, there's a much more visible presence in terms of, being out there and changing policies and so on. What has prompted that? What has prompted people in the community to go out there and say, we're going to take part in American politics? Is it issues such as immigration, for example?
I think immigration was a big part. Well, first of all, there are the numbers. There's a growing Latino population, and I think it was just a matter of time that got expressed politically. So part of it was just demographics. But immigration, what it did, the immigration reform, it brought people into the process. They understood that what happens in D.C. has a very personal impact on their lives that affected their families. And so I think it was a very quick catch-up lesson in politics to have immigration on the table.
Now, many of them have extended families overseas. How much do people in the community pay attention to foreign policy and how the U.S. handles foreign policy?
I think the Latino community is very connected to their country of origin. So Mexican Americans follow Mexican politics closely. Colombians follow Colombian politics. So there is a great interest in Latin American politics.
Mehram, we had an email, if I could put to you, that came in from Kansas in the USA, and Deborah wrote in saying, I was discouraged how it seemed Obama turned his attention away from the Palestinian issues and then at the AIPAC meeting vowed to back Israel up forever. Now, how do you feel about what some see as a flip-flopping by Senator Obama on the Israeli-Palestinian issue?
You know, I think that Senator Obama has been a friend to the Arab American community. He recognizes that this is a tough issue for our community, and it's a divisive issue. But I feel like he's going to be an honest broker, and I really disagree that he's a flip-flopper. I think definitely he's going to be a strong advocate for the Arab American community.
Well, let's get a call on the line. We've got California with us. Nifty, you're on the line with us. What would you like to ask? Go ahead, Nifty, go ahead.
No.
I think we may. Go ahead, yeah. What's your question, please?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello. My question is,
yeah,
as you, you are, as a journalist, witness for 8 years how American citizens suffer because government, Bush administration, was concentrating for foreign policy. Can you imagine what's going to happen to us when Mr. Obama, with no experience, coming to power?
Okay, well, I'll put this to Maram Abdelhamid. This is the issue that people are worried about, is does he have enough, I guess, foreign policy experience, but also the strength of character to handle some of the tricky issues that are holding things up in the Middle East?
You know, I think he does have the strength of character. Senator Obama has, his first instinct is to diplomacy rather than war. So I do believe that Senator Obama will do a great job at that. So.
Maria, what issues within the Latino community have been markers that people have been watching out for when it comes to foreign policy? Is there something in a similar vein where people say we're worried he might flip-flop on this, or he might let us down on this, or he should be focused on this when it comes to foreign policy?
I'd say there's two really important issues. The war in Iraq is very important to the Latino community. There are many Latinos in the armed forces, and the first casualty in Iraq was undocumented, was a permanent resident Mexican-American. The war is very important. They're following it. They're following his positions on the war. And I think they want him to keep his promise that he's going to withdraw from Iraq. The other question I think that was difficult for Latinos was that Senator Obama voted to support the wall, the construction of the wall with Mexico. And there were a lot of questions about that. I think when he explained to people that he was doing that as a way to also participate in the discussion about an amnesty program for Latinos, that there had to be a trade-off and that he really wanted legalization, they understood. But those two issues have been important foreign policy issues for Latinos.
Now, you know, one thing we did, the comedians have been out in force here, of course, at the DNC, and we spoke to some of the Arab American comedians who were out last night, you know, giving their views on what's been going on. Now, we got them to ask a couple of short questions for you, and we're going to have a look at these two questions they put forward to us.
Since Blue Jobs has basically made it an art to vilify the Latino and Mexican community, if you guys had to choose a goodwill ambassador, who would it be? Shakira or Salma Hayek?
If Barack Hussein Obama's middle name was like Hank instead of Hussein, would you still be supporting him, or is your support all based on the fact that his middle name is Hussein?
Now, of course, well, the first one that came from Maysoon was, you know, if you had to choose a goodwill ambassador, you've got Salma Hayek and Shakira, who she wants to point out, actually, and she did off camera, that they're both Arab anyway, originally. So which one would you choose?
I take them both. I think we need two ambassadors.
Okay. And the other question was really about, would people be as worried if Barack Obama's middle name was Hank, not Hussein?
You know, it's unfortunate that his middle name has been used as a wedge issue against our community. However, he's risen beyond that. So, and he's also been he's been an inspiration to a lot of Muslim and young Arab Americans who are working in politics. So, it's actually a great story.
Actually, an interesting point, a question that comes to mind is, has the Arab American community become more mobilized since September the 11th in trying to get more actively involved in American politics and trying to change the view and heal some of the rifts that have been created?
Well, we've actually increased the vote in key places like Virginia and Michigan and Florida and Pennsylvania. We've held events. We've invited candidates. Then the most important thing in this campaign that we have been recognized by the campaign as an actual group. If you go to the Obama campaign website, you'll see Arab Americans for Obama.
Well, I want to thank you very much both, Mary Blanco and Maram Abdulhamid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us. The issue of immigration, which we touched on today, is obviously an important one in this election. So be sure to tune in on Thursday to Al Jazeera's in-depth coverage of the Democratic Convention for a debate on the immigration issue. Now, on tomorrow's show, we continue our coverage of the Democratic Convention at our special live time of 0030 hours GMT. We'll speak with 2 U.S. veterans of the Iraq War who have very different views on what the U.S. should be doing in Iraq. And next week, our team heads to the Republican Convention in St. Paul, Minnesota, for more of our expanding look at the issues in the upcoming U.S. elections and how they'll impact the rest of the world. That's all from me and the team here. We'll see you next time.